what's there is that so far, if like this recording can be made available to them, then there is no issue with that. So far, the recording can be made available to them. Alright, guys. So today we're going to get started with. Okay, actually, today is the last day of our virtual meetings for the study jams, and our focus today is. So I wanted to do like a questionnaire whereby I asked some of the audience where they are currently at with the study jam materials. Okay, let me clear my screen. So I wanted to ask some of the audience where they are currently at with study jam materials. So it's going to like guide us on what we are going to review or walk through today. But since we don't have enough people in the audience and there's no way we can have this questionnaire, uh, we are just going to go to the unit 2 of this study jam materials. So this is for the Power to Programming track. After I discovered that almost everyone in DSC LASU that's taking the Android study jam, a lot of them are working with the Power to Programming track. And so this is the unit 2 of that track. And okay, so what I want us to do now, I just want us to have a simple review on recycler view without databases. So I went through this track, each of this track, and I found out that okay, I don't want us to repeat what's actually done here. The track handled recycler views and how it correlates with room database. It handled it very fine. But I just want us to look at recycler views standalone. So on a very basic um, on a very basic perspective, let's just look at recycler view alone without talking about rooms and all that. So let's just go straight to the concept of what a recycler view is. Now, for a lot of you are just new to Android programming, but so I just want to talk about the kind of infrastructures that existed before recycler views. So it becomes clear why we need to go through the whole technicalities of implementing recycler views. So before recycler views, there was a list view widget, and the list view was used to display a collection of items. So like its name sounds, is a list view. But the problem or the major problem with the list view was that when the data collection becomes very big, when it becomes very large, then the list view is not efficient with handling um, large or robust data collections. So, um, so let's imagine like with a list view, you can create something like a Twitter timeline or a Facebook timeline that it's almost as if it's infinitely scrolling. So with a list view, you're just going to clog up the whole UI thread. And when you block the UI thread, then you get into instances whereby your app starts hanging, it becomes unresponsive, and Android operating system might just tell the user that okay, this app is not responding, close the app and all that. A lot of times you see those notifications when you're working with, let's say, Instagram or other big apps. So, but with the recycler view, so the recycler view decides that okay, rather than we just loading all this whole collection directly on the UI thread immediately, why don't we recycle items since the user screen is limited in terms of the height and the width. So the user is not going to see the whole collection at once. Like on your Facebook or on your Twitter homepage, there are a lot of tweets, a lot of activities going on, and sorry for that. Am I all right? So I guess that I'm still connected. So on your Facebook or your Twitter feed, there are a lot of collections present, a lot of activities going on. And the truth is that you can't see or consume everything at the same time. You can only consume what's in front of you on your screen. And really, this is what the Recycler View is trying to emphasize this concept that now, since each view is not going to be on screen at the same time, like all the views for each collection is not going to be at screen at the same time. Whenever you scroll past a collection, or sorry, whenever you scroll past an item in the collection, what the Recycler View does is that it reuses that item view that you have scrolled past and then pre-populates it with new data and presents you that data. And I think um, when you go through the code lab and you look at some of this visual here, it gets more intuitive how the Recycler View works. Like, okay, look at it. Let's just take a look at the image here and the concept that, okay, we scroll, the first view here is ABC, the first item view. Now it's going to scroll off the screen and we have the blue and the green views on the screen. Now immediately ABC scrolls off the screen, you see there is a new view, a new item in the collection coming, but the Recycler View reuses this ABC view that have been scrolled off the screen. That's why you see the XYZ view has the same orange color as the ABC view, or the same red color, sorry, as the ABC view. But the data is different now. With the the orange view, sorry, the red view before had a data of ABC, but now since this data ABC has been scrolled up the screen, this same red view has been pre-populated with new data, or has been populated with new data, and that new data is XYZ. So now I want us to just stop talking and then implement a Recycler View. Okay, so Abisayo has joined us. And okay, so Abisayo, I was just going through Recycler Views. Um, I had, assuming you joined earlier, would have done a very short survey just to know where you are with the whole study jam materials in order to know where we're going to continue from. But since you joined late, we have started a session with Recycler View and we're going to complete the session. But during the week, you had some issues and I saw your messages on our WhatsApp group chat where you had an issues of unresolved reference and all that. So after this session with Recycler Views, hopefully we are going to try to recreate the errors you had. We are going to recreate it in different ways, and so we can see how those errors come to be, and obviously how you can go about solving those errors. And like Fawaz said, you can actually use your mic, so please feel free to interrupt me anytime. You can use your mic if you want to ask questions or if there are things that are not clear to you. Okay, so now I want to just share I want to share an image. Sorry, I want to share my Android Studio screen. Okay, and so what we're going to do here is that we are going to implement a Recycler View. So it's not going to be anything very fancy, but we want to see how we can implement a basic Recycler View, and I hope we do that very fast. So first, we go to our XML layout, and then we use the Recycler View view. And in case maybe you're going through the Android code labs and you haven't yet started working with Recycler View, or you haven't reached this point whereby you're going to use Recycler Views, you can just still follow along and just to familiarize yourself with Recycler Views, because you're still going to get to it and all that. So one thing you have to notice here is that you need to add a dependency before the recycler view, before you can use the recycler view. So
I can't hear you anymore. Can you hear him, Bisaya? Bisaya, you can make use of your mic.
I'm so sorry. I was muted. I hope that that didn't take a long time, but I didn't know that. But can you guys see my screen?
Yes, man.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to add recycler view now. So I added the dependency for it. Um, and we're just going to do math reference. So one thing you need to know is that the recycler view displays a collection of items. Now that collection can come maybe from a list or an array. Like it's just displaying a collection. And for each item in the collection, the recycler view represents it in a um let's put it in layman terms, let's say in a layout result. So like if you have an array of 10 items and you want to display it on a recycler view, for each of those 10 items, the recycler view creates an item view. So it's called an item view. So for each of those items, the recycler view creates an item view. Now, as a programmer or as an Android developer, you're going to be the one to design the item view for the recycler view. And then the recycler, you can use multiple item views in a recycler view, but we just want to keep things very simple now and we just work with one item view. Now, in this item view, we just want to put a text view and we want this text view to be, okay, we're going to, I'm trying to think how best to keep this very basic. We worked with data binding the last time and we just have to take things, see how we can use data binding with the recycler views. If you're not getting this, the whole I really don't know why this is just muting itself. I'm very sorry. Uh, okay, so let's just go through this very fast. Let's just go through this very fast. So we have to create an adapter class. Like, in fact, the whole section of the recycler view, it's something that will require us, if we want to like discuss about this from scratch, it's going to require us to spend a lot of time, and time is what we don't have at this moment. So you can always just go through the code labs. It's just trying to get you with um a basic recycler view. So okay, now the way the recycler view, where an adapter comes in is that now a recycler view displays a collection of items, which could be a list, an array, so a collection of things. You put those collection inside the recycler view, but the recycler view as a view in Android does not understand how to, let's say, work with an array. It doesn't even know the concept of a list. So an adapter is like an intermediary that takes those collections, those items, those normal programming constructs, you put it inside an adapter, and an adapter hands it over to a recycler view in a way that the recycler view can then display on screen. So really that's what an adapter is. And for us to create a recycler view adapter, we have to um, sorry. So we have to create an adapter class, and then we extend recycler view adapter. And okay. Oh, sorry. And then in an adapter, there's what's called a view holder. So we can look at as view holders as um, let me share the screen of the code labs. So we can look at view holders as these um, views on screen. So before we got started, we created an XML layout to represent an item in the recycler view. Now that layout is what the recycler view is going to use to create all these homogeneous views you see on screen. Now, each of these views or each of these items is constructed in a view holder. So really what the recycler views recycles is these view holders. So you can look at this red, blue, and green um, squares as view holders, and immediately the ABC view holder leaves the screen, the recycler view reuses it, so you can see it's still the same red view holder, but the recycler view puts new data into it. So really that's how it works. So for us to create an adapter, we need to provide an adapter with a view holder. And so that is what we are going to do now. So a view holder is class, and we are going to put that class inside the recycler view adapter class. So we want to put that class inside this main class, but we can still create it as an external class, but it's more convenient to just put the class inside this class. And so we have to create this DSC LASU view holder class. And then we extend the recycler view dot view holder. And now in this, we have to pass the we have to pass the item view. But since we're using data binding, so ours is going to be item view and data binding. Now, for those of you that have gotten to this stage in the code labs, obviously all this is not going to look like magic. But for those of you that have not yet gotten here, you don't need to panic. The material is explanatory enough, and if you have not gotten here, just look at it that okay, you're getting yourself familiar with the whole concept of a recycler view, and you shouldn't really bother yourself about all these details. So now these functions, these functions we have to override them since our recycler view adapter class inherited the adapter, adapter class in the Android recycler view widget. Now, each of these functions serves specific purpose. The create view holder function, we are going to use the function to create those red, blue, and green boxes. So we use this function to create a view holder. And you see, in this function, we have to return a view holder. Now we have declared our view holder class to be DSC LASU view holder. And you see, when we overrode the function, we had to return it came with a return type DSC LASU view holder. So inside DSC LASU view holder, I want us to use a companion object. You could actually do this in different ways, but from the code labs, they use a companion object. And so I want us to just take the same steps that was used in the code labs. So whenever you're going through the code labs materials, you're not going to be like, okay, Prosper didn't use this, so why is this? But I have to put it out here. You can do it in different ways. But the whole idea of using a companion object is that we want to be able to return an instance of DSC LASU view holder without creating, we want to create DSC LASU view holder without first creating an instance of the class. So with this companion object now, we can access this function, create DSC LASU view holder directly from the class without us having to create an instance of the class. So all right. So we use this function to return the DSC LASU view holder. And now let's create a layout item. This is a layout for the item view. So that's what we are creating now. Item. In order for us to create the layout item for the item view XML, we need a view group because we are actually using data binding to do this. So we need a view group. We also need the ID to the layout and a lot of other variables. Okay, so we're going to return the function. Yes, hold back and layout item. So that's just it. So right now in onCreate view holder, so we could just return DSC LASU. So you see the function we declared in a companion object. We can access it without creating an instance of this DSC LASU view holder class. So if this function wasn't in a companion object, then there wouldn't be any way for us to access it without creating an instance of the class. And you have seen here that it's giving an error that, okay, you can't access it. You have to first create an instance of the class. So using a companion object just makes this simpler for us. And on this, I get item count. So I really don't use this basic form of a recycler view. We use like a list view adapter. It makes things much easier with the some more sophisticated algorithms and all that. But with this, we have to pass the data item or the data collection directly um, through the class, through the adapter class. And so here we just have to return data collection dot size and unbind view holder. So this function is going to be called every time we want to put data into our view holder. So I want us to create a new function in this class and we'll call the function bind data. So that function is going to return a string for us, and then we are going to send that string into our data binding variable that's inside this. So I'm going to send that string here into this name variable. And so, okay, what we really don't have time, but I want us to just go through this. So if you look at this image, now you've seen this red ABC view. So this is a view holder. OnCreate view function is called to create this view holder, and that's why we returned a view holder instance. So after this view holder goes off screen, or after the view leaves the screen, now on you see that the way recycler view works is that this same red view is passed for the next item in the collection. Now, but the data is not the same. XYZ. So for new data to be bind on this view, unbind view holder is called. So what unbind view holder does is that since this view has left the screen, this red view, and it's coming down from below, the recycler view calls unbind view holder that, okay, this view has gone, now give me new data to put inside it. And so what we are going to do now is that when the unbind view holder is called, you see we declare this bind data function that collects a string, the new name we want to put, and then it assigns it to this name variable that it's inside our layout file. So all we have to do in unbind view holder is the function already gives us an instance of the DSC LASU view holder class, and then we just put the name. So we go to, okay, the data collection, which is a list, and then we say the position of data. So it's 12:40. We have our adapter running, and we can still we still need to like do some extra work of creating dummy data, and then connecting. Okay. So let's see how fast we can actually get done with this. So let me see private names equals to list. So I wanted us to just see like some other stuff. Like, sorry, I wanted us to just see examples of view of data recycler views in apps, but we don't have time because of the time limit and all that. I wanted us to walk through some other stuff, but there isn't time here for us anymore. And let's just try to get this fast. Okay, so we didn't give our recycler view an ID. So now we have to create an instance of the recycler view data class that we created, where with it earlier. And sorry, and so the adapter. And then we have to give our recycler view a layout manager. So from the images you showed earlier, there are three types of layout managers. There's the linear layout, there is the um, linear layout, grid layout, and standard layout. You get to know about all these while you're working through the whole code labs. And then, so let's wait for our apps to build. So while we're doing that, so I want us to just reference a question that Abisayo or an issue Abisayo had during the week. So, Abisayo, you say that you are creating an application. And, okay, can you just unmute yourself and just describe the problem for us so we can just talk through it and try to recreate the bug that you face?
Like, is it problem concerning this one you're teaching us, or maybe some other problem?
Hello, Abisayo, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
All
Can you
right,
hear
all
me?
right, I can hear you. So can you just tell us I can hear you?
All right.
So you can go ahead.
All right, like because like you said, Prosper, like you said that we should tell you the problem we're facing. Is it concerning this one you're teaching us, or maybe our own personal problems as a result of when we are learning Kotlin?
No, no, no. So it's not concerning this one. So um, this lesson we had today obviously is going to be very unclear if you haven't started working with cycler views. But for those already working with cycler views, it's going to be very basic. Today's lesson is just to get you familiar with this whole concept of a cycler view. So when you start going through it, you can connect the dots with what you have seen here. But
Okay,
during
okay.
the week, you had issues with um, uh, why be working through a code lab. So I just want you to tell us about the problem, and so we can talk about it and see if we can recreate that same error. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Prosper. So, like the problem I was having was that I was trying to create a my color application whereby you can click on the buttons and then it will be changing colors. And I think that is the 2 second chapter and then third module of that. So, but I realized that when I was through it and doing everything I was told to do with the code lab, I realized that they were telling me unresolved reference, and they were telling me that I should create a variable for text of green, something like that. But I realized that the code lab. So I was not like, why are they telling me to create a variable? So I didn't know what to do, sha. So I tried all my best. I tried to download look at the source code again, from the code lab. I said I was doing exactly what they telling me to do. So I was not like, what's going on, sha. But they were telling me unresolved reference. So I had to now post it, sha. But I've not yet opened my system since then, sha. But our plan of doing it today.
All right. All right. So Abisai, thank you very much. So
Hello?
there can be various things that can cause that unresolved reference bug or error that you saw. One of them is that in this resource drawable file. So if you come here resource, like if you look at my screen, this resource drawable file, that you can now since I guess that you downloaded the code labs materials, like the code for the whole the code for the whole lab. I guess that you downloaded it on your system. So maybe in instances like that, there could be like you made reference to an image that is not in the drawable folder. You and we can actually create that like recreate that error now. So, but before we do that, let's just share the screen. So our app has finally built. So let's just share the screen. Um, then we will get back to recreating that error and done for today. All right, so this is a recycler view displaying a list of names.
All
Don't
right,
have
thank you
enough
so much.
names. If not, you find out that this recycler view is scrollable. Um, but we could increase the size layout um, of the layout item. We could increase the height in order to make it scrollable. But this cycler is just displaying the list of names and it's scrollable if we have more names there. So you can keep on scrolling and it keeps on recycling, as I said. So um, that's it with our lesson on recycler views. So let's walk through Abisaya's question and we'll be done for today. Okay, so let's say that here I have an image view. Abisa, let's say I have an image view here and let me hard code the width, but it's bad practice to actually do that. Let me just match parents and then hard code. I
Okay.
would advise you to hard code height and width of views. It's actually bad practice. But let's say for the image source, I did something like drawable slash my face. Okay, already here now, it's already giving me it's showing red that things are not fine. It's screaming that things are not fine. So I'm trying to reference an image that is not in this drawable folder. So assuming that I had, let's say, a JPG file that was named my face, it's not going to show red. So if I made reference to a right variable, so um, okay, IC launcher foreground. It's there. You can see IC launcher foreground here. Now it's not showing me red, so everything is fine. But if I make reference to my face,
Hello, Prosper. So I cannot see your
it
screen. I
shows
can't see your
red.
screen. I can't see your screen.
And if we click on this red bulb, it gives us an option to create a resource file my face, create a value. But let's go ahead and ignore the screaming red and try to run our application and see what happens. So obviously the app is not going to run and we're going to get an error. And we're seeing that, okay, we've gotten an error that
Hello, Prosper. I can't see your screen. Your
um,
screen.
API error, resource drawable my face not found. So resource linking failed. Um, so that's one thing. And this is not just with drawables too. If you reference a color that is not present there, it's obviously going to show you red. And if you run the app, it's not going to work out and all that. Now, I hope that like you go through the okay. Another thing is that now it's also kind of difficult for me to really pinpoint out why you had that error. I'm trying to just show you some of these things that okay, if you reference a wrong value and colors, I think someone in the DSC group already said that, but still there's still a lot of other things that can cause an unresolved reference, and there isn't a way for me to pinpoint it out since I really don't. I can't see your code right now, but I'm going to teach you how to pinpoint it out yourself. So you see this Android lock cat. So whenever your app crashes, when you try to run your app, it crashes. Um, Below this, on your Android Studio, there's a lock cat. So you can just filter it out like I'm doing now, and then click on error because the variables has a lot of other messages that you might not be interested in. But error contains messages that are kind of specific to what's really happening and why your app crashed and all that. And okay. So what I want us to do now is that I want us to just delete this and then go back with our image view and a wrong reference. So after our app completes building and crashes, we are going to get the error is going to display here why our app crashed. And then, okay, so once we go to the log cat, um, oh, Okay, so this obviously, like the logcat is going to come in very handy if the app is already running on the device. So if the app is running on the device and it's crashed, then the logcat, you can use the logcat to find out why it crashed. But for this case, our app didn't build successfully, and it's already telling us why that didn't build. Now, uh, this build, like this area, the build pops errors out when your app didn't build successfully. But if our app had finally built, so I don't know whether the app you're working on, whether it has passed the build stage, but if it has finally built and while you're using it, it crashed, then the log card can tell you why that happened. But since our app didn't run, this build tells us, like, obviously just tells us Android resource linking failed. And then if you come here, it gives you a direct link. So even if we're not on this file, once we click on this, it gives us a direct link to what happened, that this image view and all that couldn't have the error. So Abisa, I would just like advise that, okay, you go through the build, and also if the app is already running and it crashed, then um you can use the log cat to get more insight as to why the app crashed. But if the app is not yet running, then the build can come in very handy. Also, you could also like try um pasting the errors on Google. So if it's something that you don't really know why it's happening, you could also try pasting the error on Google. But I really hope that maybe during the week, if I don't expect you to still face this issue throughout the week, but if like you're still stuck here, then during the week you can meet one on one and just sort things out.
All right,
So
bro.
Abigail, if you have anything to say, actually say it. Huh?
All right, bro.
All
Thank you
right,
so
so
much.
that's going to be the end of the session, and for us, all right, Abisayo, you're welcome. You're welcome, bro. You're always welcome. So that's going to be the end of session now.
All right. Thank you very much, Prosper. I was listening to everything you guys are saying, but I was doing some other things here also. Besides, if you have any question, have you met like Prosper? Have you resumed?
Yes, I just resumed.